Hi guys, Lindsay here with Storybook Family Farm. Yesterday was a very, very busy day. I am pretty much exhausted actually. So as you guys know, I've been wanting to start the pond project. And so I figured I would start with the easiest spot to do because if I messed it up, it really wasn't going to be that huge of a deal because it's kind of, the basis was already there for the little bit of a basin. I just essentially enlarged it. So right here is actually where the original spring is at. There was a pond liner that was in there, well, just black plastic. I was able to pull that out yesterday, so that kind of changed things a little bit. It does look a lot clearer now without having the plastic in there. Plus, it's nice to get all the trash bits out of there that were so lovingly left by previous people of the past. So that has gotten a little bit deeper since pulling out the liner. And it also has made it so that way the water flow through here is a little bit better in the drainage ditch. Well, not necessarily better. There's more water coming out. I don't know if it's because of disturbing the liner and it maybe opened things up a little bit more. I'm not really sure. But so I did dam up over in here where the pipe is, the drainage pipe, because that was something that was actually failing. There was kind of just a big hole right next to the pipe. So it wasn't ensuring that water was only coming out of the pipe. It was just kind of freely flowing out of there, which, the goal of this is to try to make it so that way we have more water catchment. And also so that way it's a nice little space that Tracy and I can come in the summertime, and Willie can too, that we can stoke our feet in when it's hot out. Since this is a full shaded area, it'll be very, very nice and relaxing. And when we first bought this property, we had always thought that this area of it, this section of the front yard, because there's such a nice little cove over here and the water trickling and all that, it just feels like a very peaceful place. So we always had envisioned that we would create almost like a Zen space over here. So that's kind of also part of why we're doing this. Plus, it'd be nice to have more spring water, so that way we can use it for the gardens and stuff for the animals during drought. And then also so that way our ducks and our geese have a better place to swim that is not just their little kiddie pools. Without further ado, I want to show you guys what I got done yesterday, because honestly, squatting down here to film is kind of making my legs a little tired. So what I first did was I dug this all deeper, and then I actually compounded all of the clay that I pulled out to make almost like a big sidewall of a berm / dam type thingy-majig. So then that way it can hold a deeper amount of water without having to dig an extremely far deep down. It's really kind of awkward to say. But I didn't want to have to essentially set a wheelbarrow up, pile it into a wheelbarrow, then move it to someplace else, when I figured that I could just, the same clay that was holding water to begin with, I figured would probably be pretty suitable to create a wall. So I bermed up actually in between the two springs here. I bermed this all up because I do have intentions of, once this is all dried up in terms of the wall, I do want to put a pipe in so that way I can pipe out the water from this side of the spring, so then it actually will fill up that deep basin there. I'm hoping that I can get it so that way this part of the spring will drain enough that I can, well, I just want to be able to divert the water into the big hole now, so then I can try to dig this a bit deeper because it's not that deep. When I took the liner out and I stepped in there, I actually did experience some deeper water than I had anticipated. Some of the water did almost go over my muck boot, so it is, with the squish down of mud, there's spots that are about a foot deep, but not anything too crazy. And the water is amazingly crystal clear. Like, it kind of reminds me of like the cenotes in Mexico, where the water is spring fed and it is 100% crystal clear, to where you can see stuff on the bottom, to where it looks like it's not 30 feet deep, but it's actually just like looks like it's a foot deep. So it's kind of neat to see the clarity of the water in this spring. So here is the basin that I created. Well, I just dug it deeper. It was already there. So it was kind of neat because this space here, it's approximately, on average, like 3 foot wide, 3-ish feet deep, and about 10 foot long. So that board you see there, I actually put that board there. It's a 2x12. I put that there in case if like wild animals and stuff came through in the nighttime. I didn't want like a baby deer or something like that to fall in and not be able to get back out. That became a big concern when I struggled to get back out after I was done yesterday. So I had Tracy help me carry that board over because I was pretty well tapped out. So she carried the board. We put it in, we sort of slapped it in the mud, but it was kind of neat because as I was digging this basin out yesterday, it kept filling up with water a little bit, So right now there actually is a few inches. I'll try to get a better angle. This hillside is very steep, so it's not all that easy to walk around here, which kind of makes it a nice little spot for a water feature, especially since the spring is already there. Let's see here. How close can I get without going in? I don't want to get wet. Ooh, that's hard to walk in. All right, so this is the other side of it. You guys can see it's a pretty deep trench that I created, and there's already water in the basin here. It's really hard to tell, but right over in here, it looks to being maybe 8 to 10 inches deep. And I did not open this up to the original spring, which is right there. So none of this water is seeping in from there. It is actually just like weeping in from underneath. And from some of the side that I'm standing on here, when I was digging it out in a couple spots, when I like flung the shovel down to break the earth, there was water that kept sort of just like seeping in, not like a big gush or anything, but it'd be like, you know, like a cup of water or 2 cups of water that would just sort of like spill in there. So I had to keep scooping water out with the clay as I was doing it. So I basically would just take the shovel in, scoop out some dirt, and then I would just fling it like almost like a catapult, fling it onto the side there and work on building up this dam. Just because once this gets all filled up, I know that's going to create a lot of pressure onto the sidewall, which where I'm standing at, it's not a concern. That's not going to do anything because it's, you know, hillside and my favorite tree. So that's not too big of a concern. It's just mostly up in here that's going to be, you know, potential for spillage. So at the base of that wall that I created, it's about, I'd say 3 foot wide, and then it tapers up towards the top to being about 18 inches wide. So it should be sufficient for a dam, especially because there is a pipe right about in here. I know you can't really see it on camera very well, right by where my finger's at. There is a pipe that originally was in this spot already to serve as an overflow pipe. It was kind of cool when I was digging this out, actually, because there was about 10 inches or so of muck on top. And then after that 10 inches, I found a layer about that thick of decomposing leaves. And in that layer of decomposing leaves, I actually found some random bits of trash. So there was like a plastic duck that like people would set on top of a pond as a decoration. I found that buried at that depth. So I would assume that at that level that it was probably, you know, about 10-inch deep basin of water, kind of like how the other spring over there is. That was sort of what it was at originally, and then I'm assuming over time and erosion, because of this hillside being steep, it just created more dirt and mud and muck on top of it. But so beyond that level of the dead leaves, there was probably a foot down underneath of that is when I hit the really rock hard clay. It was a silver in color. Years ago, probably 6 or 7 years ago, I had read about like digging shallow wells. And I remember that if you watch for the changes in soil. So as you start, you have the dark topsoil, then you have a layer of clay, and then eventually you'll hit a layer of this like grayish colored clay that has a totally different texture that just, it feels really weird, and it's also light gray. And then upon reading that, once you go past that level of clay, it's not very far past that you actually hit an aquifer. So I didn't play with going too far into that gray because I didn't really want, as I was down there scooping it up, for it to just sort of bubble up like a horror movie. But so I am honestly amazed at how much water is down here. Like I said, you can't tell on camera how deep this is, especially because of how crystal clear it is, but it's a good 8 to 10 inches deep already, and if I stood in there with the muck and everything, it'd probably sink down more. But I have no fears that this will not hold water because it's doing a sufficient job already. But so I think that I will probably try to secure that board in place because of the fact that we are going to have ducks and geese able to swim in and out of this in the future. That way they can get out, because I did make the wall so steep it would be kind of hard for anything to crawl back out. But this is going to be really nice once the walls all dry in, because then I'm going to tap into that spring there to help fill this spring here. So it'll be a really nice place to sort of just sit, chill, have your feet in the water. I'm really excited too to see if like the water quality, if it still remains crystal clear, because that'd be a really neat foot soaking experience, especially, you know, getting like some plants, and maybe we'll get some koi fish or something of the sort to put in it. But this was this really wasn't that hard of a project to do. It was labor intensive. It took me, I would say, about 3 hours of steady shovel work, which was, kind of a lot. It's kind of exhausting, but like Tracy and I have joked many times that in a past life I was probably a grave digger, because like give me a shovel and it does not take me any time at all to just get a really big hole dug pretty fast. Plus I enjoy shovel work. I don't know, I'm weird. I enjoy things that most people despise. That's kind of my jam of a fun time, is playing with a shovel and mud. But it was a really fun experience for me to be able to, play with the clay and create this nice little dam wall here, then come back down and create this area here and all that. So it's gonna be really nice, and I think it's gonna be really fun for once I am able to start that project up there of creating a really big pond space. That one up there I don't think will be anywhere near as deep as this. I don't necessarily know if the landscape will allow me to go that deep, just because of it's a little bit further down slope. So I'm not sure at what level I will hit that gray clay. I know when I dug out our mailbox, which is right over there, after about a foot down was when I hit that gray clay. So I'm not sure how far I'll be able to go down. But the field across the road there that's now like commercially farmed, that was originally like protected wetlands. So I'm not sure. That'll be another project for another day, but I'm really, really excited with how this turned out. Really excited to actually plant some stuff along the berm. So I was thinking about doing, like, once it starts drying some more, obviously, do some hostas, do some mints and things to help with erosion, so that way it doesn't collapse right back in or collapse outward. But yeah, this was a very fun project for me, very exciting, and I'm kind of jazzed for it to start filling up more, because when we went to bed last night, there was about 2 inches of water in here, and now there's, like I said, like 8 to 10 inches. So, and when I did the whole Googling it out and measuring it and mapping it all out and stuff, this basin ends up capturing approximately like 700 gallons of water is what it should be able to store. So that's a lot of water to play with. So I'm kind of jazzed, and it should be deep enough too that if we want to put fish in there, they should be able to survive the wintertime. So yeah, I'm going to get busy on mowing the grass and potentially weeding the garden, one of my least favorite chores. So if you guys are enjoying my content, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends on social media, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to help us grow. We'd greatly appreciate it. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.